You are no longer designing security for a single data center, a fixed perimeter, or a predictable network. You are operating in a world where identities are mobile, workloads are distributed, applications are continuously deployed, and data flows across cloud, SaaS, OT, and partner ecosystems. In this environment, security is no longer a collection of tools. It is no longer a firewall project. It is no longer a compliance checklist. It is architecture. If you do not think architecturally, security becomes reactive. If you do not design strategically, you end up with fragmentation. And if you do not align security with business outcomes, you lose credibility at the executive table. This is where enterprise security architecture becomes essential. When you think about enterprise security architecture, you should think about structured security design across the entire organization. Not just one system, not just one cloud, not just one project. Enterprise security architecture is the discipline of designing, governing, and evolving security capabilities across people, processes, technology, and business strategy. It answers questions like, how does security align with business objectives? How do identity, network, data, application, and cloud security fit together? How do you ensure consistency across multiple business units? How do you design for resilience, not just prevention? Its scope includes identity and access strategy, cloud and hybrid architecture security, data protection frameworks, DevSecOps integration, logging and detection architecture, governance and compliance alignment, risk-driven prioritization, security operating models. You are not designing individual controls. You are designing a security ecosystem. And that ecosystem must be scalable, measurable, and adaptable. If you look at traditional security models, they were built around the idea of a strong perimeter. The organization owned the network. Users were inside. Everything outside was untrusted. But today, that assumption is broken. Your workforce is remote. Your applications are SaaS. Your infrastructure is multi-cloud. Your partners are interconnected. Your data is everywhere. Traditional models fail because they assume a fixed perimeter. They rely heavily on network-based trust. They focus on blocking instead of resilience. They treat compliance as the objective rather than risk reduction. They operate in silos. For example, in older environments, you could deploy a firewall and feel confident. Today, your most sensitive data may live in a cloud storage service accessed via identity tokens, not IP addresses. The attack surface has shifted from network boundaries to identity, APIs, pipelines, and supply chains. If you continue to design security as isolated tools, firewall team, identity team, cloud team, SOC team, you create fragmented defense. As an enterprise architect, you must design cohesion, not islands. You are no longer protecting just servers. You are protecting Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud workloads, SaaS platforms, hybrid data centers, DevOps pipelines, Kubernetes clusters, OT environments, APIs exposed to the internet. This is the cloud and hybrid reality. Cloud changes everything because infrastructure is software defined. Provisioning is automated. Developers can deploy instantly. Identity becomes the control plane. Misconfigurations become the biggest risk. You cannot simply bolt on security after cloud adoption. You must embed it into landing zone design, identity federation, role-based access models, logging architecture, DevSecOps workflows. Hybrid complexity increases further when you integrate legacy environments, OT systems, and modern SaaS. Your job is to ensure consistency of controls across all of them. Enterprise security architecture provides that consistency. It ensures that your zero trust principles apply in cloud, on-prem, and remote environments without contradiction. One of the most important distinctions you must understand is the difference between strategic architecture, and technical architecture. Technical architecture focuses on which firewall to use, how to configure conditional access, which SIEM to deploy, how to segment networks. Strategic architecture focuses on what security capabilities the organization must have, how security supports business growth, what risk appetite the board has, what target maturity level is required, how investments are prioritized. If you operate only at the technical layer, you become an engineer. If you operate at the strategic layer, you become an architect. For example, a technical solution might say, enable MFA everywhere. A strategic architect asks, what is the identity trust model? What is the privilege access life cycle? How does this reduce enterprise risk? How do we measure identity maturity? Strategic architecture translates business risk into architectural capabilities. Technical architecture implements those capabilities. You must master both, but always think strategically first. Many leaders still see security as a cost center. That perception changes when you demonstrate architectural thinking. When you design properly, cloud adoption becomes safer and faster. Mergers and acquisitions become easier to integrate. Compliance becomes embedded rather than reactive. DevOps teams move faster without increasing risk. Incident response becomes structured and measurable. You are not just reducing breaches, you are enabling controlled growth. For example, if your organization wants to expand into digital services, security architecture ensures secure identity onboarding, API protection models, data protection compliance, logging visibility, resilience against ransomware. Without architecture, digital transformation increases risk. With architecture, digital transformation becomes secure by design. That is business enablement. The enterprise security architect is no longer optional in modern organizations. Here is why. Threat actors are no longer targeting single systems. They target identity providers, CI/CD pipelines, supply chains, cloud misconfigurations, privileged access. Ransomware groups operate like enterprises. Nation-state actors exploit architecture weaknesses, not just vulnerabilities. If your architecture is fragmented, attackers exploit the gaps. Boards are also demanding resilience assurance, risk quantification, regulatory compliance, operational transparency, secure digital growth. Without a cohesive security architecture, you cannot provide assurance. The architect becomes mission critical because you align security to enterprise risk. You design long-term capability roadmaps. You prevent tool sprawl. You ensure interoperability. You reduce duplication. You standardize controls across domains. You become the bridge between executive strategy, engineering implementation, risk and compliance requirements, security operations, and that bridge is essential in complex enterprises. As an enterprise security architect, you must think across domains simultaneously. Identity architecture, network and segmentation architecture, cloud security architecture, application and DevSecOps security, data protection architecture, logging and detection architecture, governance and risk alignment, resilience and recovery design. These are not independent tracks, they intersect constantly. For example, identity controls affect cloud access. Cloud logging affect SOC visibility. SOC visibility affect executive risk reporting. Risk reporting affects budget decisions. Enterprise security architecture is about designing these interconnections intentionally. If you want to elevate yourself or your organization, you must shift your mindset. Stop asking, what tool should we buy? Start asking, what capability are we missing? What maturity level are we targeting? What risk are we reducing? What operating model support this control? How will this scale in 3 years? Architectural thinking is long-term thinking. It is structured. It is measurable. It is aligned to strategy. It is resilient against change. And in modern enterprises, change is constant. When you embrace enterprise security architecture, you lead transformation. From reactive to proactive, from fragmented to cohesive, from compliance driven to risk driven, from tool focused to capability focused, from perimeter based to identity centric. You design systems that assume breach. You design systems that detect early. You design systems that recover quickly. You design systems that scale securely. That is the difference between operational security and architectural security. If you are a security leader, architect, or aspiring architect, you must ask yourself, are you designing systems or are you designing an enterprise security posture? Are you reacting to threats or are you shaping how the organization defends itself? Enterprise security architecture is not about diagrams. It is about influence, structure, and long-term impact. It defines how secure your organization will be, not just today, but 5 years from now. And that responsibility is significant. If this perspective resonates with you, then this series will transform the way you think about security design. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you do not miss the upcoming lectures where you will go deeper into zero trust architecture, cloud security strategy, identity centric design, and enterprise level security operations. Like this video, if you found value in this discussion, comment below and tell me, are you currently operating at the technical layer or are you stepping into strategic security architecture? Your journey toward becoming a high-impact enterprise security architect starts now.